Welcome to the war. Apologies for being a little quiet on the channel lately. Life has a way of getting in the way. Anyway, who cares? I am trying to play a game today, first game in quite a while, of Sword and Spear. If you're familiar with it, it's a set of ancient rules, and I'm going to be playing a Wars of the Roses game. So I've got two forces here. And I realized that this is not a very particularly common game, so I'll do my best to kind of talk through the rules as we go. It has been a while since I've played, so I'm probably going to need a little bit of a refresher too. But I'll just keep it straightforward, just a pitch battle. These two forces, I'll walk you through those. So on this side, we've got the Lancastrian army with the Elizabeth of York as the commander there, or the general. You'll see how this plays out in the game. Then we've got two captains, Henry Tudor on the left, and Edmund Beaufort, or the Duke of Somerset, on the right there. And then we've got longbows, more longbows, even more longbows, and more longbows. And then two sets of billmen. And they're going to be backed up in support with some mounted knights and some spearmen. We've got them in support. And then over on the Yorkist side, good old Richard III there, the Earl of Warwick and the Earl of Derby, Thomas Stanley, billmen, archers, or longbowmen, I should say, longbowmen. Then we've got some dismounted knights, some Irish kerns, sort of mercenary chaps, and some mounted knights there. So like I said, I don't know how many people are familiar with this game. I'll take my time walking through it. Pretty sort of, uses a pretty innovative like turn sequence. It's not an I go, you go game. I'll show you how that all works. And then I'll put a link to the various army lists, because there are a lot of them available for this game. I'll put a link in the description below. So with that being said, I'll start to get things deployed and show you how that works. Okay, so you can see here, the red dice at the top, each sort of a la bolt action, each unit in the game has a dice allocated to it. They're gonna go in a bag. You pull a certain amount of them out. You don't just keep pulling them all like you do in bolt action. So we'll pull a certain amount out. We'll get to that. But to start with, each general picks a certain number of these dice, or basically is bidding them to see who gets the first turn. Obviously, I'm solo gaming this, so that's a little harder to preempt. But I said that the Lancastrians would pull those 4, and the Yorkists would pull those 3. So that basically means that these guys are going to be deployed first. And then how it works, you deploy your heavy foot first, which I don't believe these guys have. So that sort of doesn't make sense. Oh, are those? Sorry, now I'm blanking. Yeah, they don't have any, so that was a little out of character. But we'll do it over here. These guys are going to deploy first. And then we're going to go through that. So it goes your heavy foot, and then your medium foot, and your non-skirmishers, mounted troops, and then your skirmishers and commanders. Don't have any skirmishers, so the majority of this is going to get deployed in the middle. Also worth noting, this game doesn't use tape measure. It uses this measuring stick, which is basically the length of one base unit. It's sort of an element-based game. We're not going to be pulling minis off as we go, but I'll get everything deployed and we'll see where it goes. The table over here, it's a 4x4. It might actually be a little big for this game. I would say this is a fairly average size couple of armies. I'll deploy them more forward so we don't have a couple of turns of just marching in a straight line. But you can see I'm going to keep those trees there are like the border of the table. I'm just going to play these fields as they're just for scenery. But the trees, the water, the bridge, and then there's the hill. That'll all act as terrain, which we'll get into. All right, I'll get deployed. Deployment. Okay, everybody's deployed. I did realize actually the Billmen are a heavy foot, so it was an advantage for the Lancastrians to deploy first. So they've gone for a fairly split formation here, or deployment here. So the archers pretty much are all predominantly on this side of the table, on their left. Spearmen backing them up there. A few more archers here. The billmen all crossing the bridge. Now, you typically have to keep things on the same frontage in this game, being two base widths across. But I figured for getting across the bridge, there's no way to do that. So we do that. Important to note, they do have a captain attached to the rear unit. That will become relevant once we start, and so do those archers there. There's a command range that works for captains and for generals. Elizabeth of York right there, but not attached to a unit. And the mounted knights over on this side, again with those 4 bidding dice for deployment on the side there, with the Yorkists having 3 here. For the Yorkists, on their left side, looking to face down the knights there, a captain and a unit of billmen, archers, Currans in the middle, more archers, King Richard taking more of a backfield role, but able to run over to trouble where it's needed. More archers. The knights looking to get up the hill and down the other side, plowing into some archers probably. The foot knights there, and then on the very right side, another captain supporting a unit of billmen. So that's everything deployed. Again, not really looking for any like tactical or strategic nuance to this game. Just really kind of putting some models on the table and smashing them together whilst trying to show how to play this game and remind myself while we're at it. So let's get started. I'll show you how the turn begins. Okay, this is the beginning of what we call the activation phase. So remember, every unit has a dice attached to it or applicable to it. Those all go into typically a dice bag. I'm just going to use my pocket here full of dice, minus the dice that we bid, or I bid, for the deployment phase. So the more you bid, the less you're going to get on the first turn. So we then pull out 7 at random, 7 dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Odd number. So the unit, or the side, I should say, that has the most dice, in this case quite significantly, 5 to 2, they're going to be the active player, and the side with the least amount of dice is the reactive player. So we then, the active player goes first. They roll these dice, and then they're gonna apply these to each of the unit, or their first batch of units, and we'll go through this every until all the dice are gone. Now the important thing is, what are we rolling for here? We're trying to roll what's called a discipline value, which is basically their ability to take orders. The higher the discipline value, the more disciplined they are. This was not a great roll, I would say. So we have 2 6s. Pretty much everything on the table, in this game at least, has a discipline of either 3 or 4. So we're going to take those 6s and apply those to the two units that we want to activate. We'll just put, this is not a great roll. I will put this on this unit of archers and this unit of archers. And then these 1s and 2s are really not much use, other than the fact that having a commander attached to your unit, as is the case here and the case over here, that increases your discipline by 1, which would take those 2s up to 3s, but it's still not enough. Unfortunately, those 3 dice are going to go aside. Maybe there's something else we can do with those, but that's basically how that works. Now the reactive player, who only has 2 dice, is going to roll these, and see what they get. So they got a 6 and a 3. I'm not sure if you can see that from so far away, but I wanted to get the whole board in. So first of all, that 3 is not great, but we can put that on the knights here. So we're gonna give that to them. And the 6 I can do anyway. 6 is a good roll. So we'll apply that to this front rank of billmen. And that will move into activating each of these units in cascading order. So the active player is going to be able to do something with those 6s. Let me pause for a moment just to go through the script of what's next, and then we'll come back. Okay, apologies for the small detail there, but an important one. Units are activated, lowest dice roll up. So those 6s are going to be going last. However, so we're going to be starting by activating this unit of, oh, you can't see that. This unit of knights that are right here. So they're able to perform one of several actions. You can typically, obviously they don't have missile weapons, but you can shoot, move, fight in close combat, or defer. Those are kind of the basic things. If the dice is equal to their activation, which this is. If it was 1 higher, there's a series of extra actions that they can take, like charging, doing kinds of different kind of rallying, or other changing of or repositioning. But this is pretty straightforward enough. They're going to move. Like I said, this game doesn't use tape measure or rulers. Everything's kind of given a distance unit, which each of these stripes is, and cavalry can move in open terrain. They can move 4 movement units. So we can see here 1, 2, 3, 4. So this unit moves to here, coming down the extreme flank, and then that's the end of their activation. You get 1 activation, and then just to show that they've gone, we keep that dice behind them with the 1 on it. Now we have a big old tie. So we've got 3 6s on the table. But remember, active unit. So this active unit is going to move. We've got 2 sets of archers here. I know what you're thinking, Shane. What's the range of the missile weapons they've got? Everyone here that has a missile weapon is armed with a longbow, which it basically is 5 movement rates long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's as far as they can shoot. That's not going to hit anything. So we're going to have them move. And they're considered medium foot, I believe. Yeah, medium foot, who move 3 movement units in open combat, in open terrain. So 1, 2, 3. Ooh, that's going to put them over here. Now remember, this is going to be a little bit of a special move. It's going to be a little bit of a shift, but they roll high enough that they're able to do that. So we're going to put them there. And then, again, active unit, this one over here, they're also going to do a little bit of a pivot. 1, 2, 3, 3, yep, they go there. And then we just change that to a 1, and that to a 1, to show that they've gone. Then the billman here, same thing, gonna move forwards. Movement rate of 3. Now, as soon as they're off that bridge, we're going to fan them out, just as we've done before, or just as I described before, I should say. So they're there, their dice goes to 1, and that is basically the end of that activation. Ooh, some trees over. So now we go back to picking more dice out. We just go through this all at once. So we go back to the activation. Same thing again, 7 dice out of the bag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now, you see, we've got 4 to Lancaster and 3 to York. So Lancaster has the advantage, or is the active player. You roll their dice. Oh, terrible roll. 2 1s, a 2, and a 3. The 1s and the 2s are going to do nothing. The 3 is not going to be good enough to activate any of the longbowmen or billmen because they are discipline 4. However, this unit of archers or longbowmen has a captain attached to it that increases their discipline by 1 because he's attached to them. So I will give that 3 to them to order. And then for the House of York, again, not a great roll. 2 2s that are no good to anybody. And a 5, who we will give to the cavalry, just to get them going up the hill. All right, so again, lowest number first, that would be the archers. They're going to move, they're just going to move forward, start to climb the hill, and the cavalry are going to do the same thing. They're going to start running up the hill. They got a movement of 4, so they get a little further. They're almost at the top pretty quickly. By the way, these are all Essex miniatures. Picked them all up at Cold Wars a while back. Okay, so now that was that turn. We pull another 7 dice. Oh wait, we don't have 7 dice. We've only got 1 dice left, just as it happens. We pull that. It's a red one for this side. We roll it. 2, nothing. That's the end of the turn. Now we have a cleanup phase. Basically, this is the opportunity to roll off rallies, move commanders, and do those kinds of things. I'll walk you through. Okay, another small but important detail I missed. Commanders and captains, or generals and captains, don't contribute to the dice pool. They are separate. That's a pretty big mistake to make, but both sides did it. It didn't really impact a whole lot at the beginning of the game, so I just removed 3 dice from each side. So, and just in terms of commanders, they now get to move freely at the end of the turn, which I actually don't really want to do. This commander's good where he is. The general is good here. The captain I want staying over there on this side. All good here. The only move I'm going to make is just to move Richard up to the middle there. Just command radius is a little more important. Typically we'd be rallying units here too. That's what these command units do. But ultimately, again, opening move of the game, that's the end of the turn. So now all of the dice go back in the bag or the pocket as it may be, and we start on to turn 2. All right, turn 2, I'm gonna try to do this handheld, get a better view of the action here. All right, so out of the dice pool come 7 dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Advantage York, reactive Lancaster. We roll those. That 1 and the 2 are no good. But the 4 and the 5 can go to activate. Let's see, let's put them on these archers and let's try to get these foot knights going up the table. Oh, yep, so the 5 and the 4 go like that. And then for this side, ooh, terrible, terrible, terrible. These 1s are no good, but this 3, we're gonna give to these archers here, just to get them moving up. Lowest number goes first. Obviously, they're going to advance, and advance being, I looked up the terminology, is a straight forward move. So they're gonna move straight forward. That was their turn. Over here, we're gonna do the same thing with these archers. Just grab my ruler here. They're gonna move up 3 distance units. Those tight. Advance up the hill. Oh, we put that to a 1. And then over here too. That to a 1. And then the foot knights, who are also on the foot side, they're going to move up to there. Change that to a 1. Back to pulling out dice. Next activation. Dig deep. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. They got 5 dice there. Wow. Okay. They're coming off. All right. Roll these. Okay. So that 2 is not going to be any good to anybody. The 4 will activate this group of archers. Other 4 will activate these spearmen. One of these 6s will activate these archers. This was a good roll. This other 6 is going to activate, is going to start pulling the billman forward. Only 2 on this side, but they are going to be able to use them both. So we'll assign 1 here. You can pre-measure. I'm going to check. They're still not, they're well out of range. And 1. Let's try to keep a line here. We're going to put that over there. So starting with the lowest number, we've got a 4 here. So we're going to move those archers 3. Forgive me if this is a little wobbly or if I'm off. I'm not used to recording turn-by-turn games. I'm not good at it. I'll be quite honest. That was their 1. Now we've got, let's see, the 5. Oh, wait, got another 4 here, who are also going to move their distance rate. Coming up to support around the edge of the woods. Just poke those in there. Put that to a 1. Then we've got our 5. So again, we'll move them up, but we're gonna move them just. They will do a maneuver, which is not the advance, just to shimmy over that side a little bit, but they will just go that far. This unit of billmen is going to advance to there. Keep the line steady. We're closing in. Keep the captain with them. That goes to a 1. And then lastly, our billmen on the bridge, who are going to still be on the bridge at the end of this turn, but they're making progress. They're going to here. Okay, that was the turn. Back into the pocket. Only 2 dice left, 2 white dice. Both duds. So, end of the turn. Move the commanders. I am going to attach, starting with this side. So I'm going to attach the general here. They're staying there, and I will attach the general to the kerns there, or the yep, that's the turn. So dice back in the pocket. You can see we're gonna probably have some action in the next turn, so stay tuned. Okay, turn 3. I thought I'd move things along. Same deal again. Moved on this side. Over here, we just have one thing to take care of. This unit of longbowmen are going to be shooting at this unit of billmen. I'll now well, you can see that they're in range. 5 movement units or distance units within range. So now I'll show you how the combat mechanism works. Okay, so combat works effectively the same for shooting and for hand-to-hand, with the difference that obviously the shooter in this instance can't be attacked back. So how this works is essentially a series of opposed dice rolls. Each side rolls the number of dice according to their strength. In this case, those are both 4. We roll these 4, and then we put them in descending order. Pretty good roll, effectively a defense roll. And then the attacker, who in this instance, the longbowmen, also have strength 4. Now take these dice and you match them up. So 6 meets a 6, 5 meets a 5, 1 meets a 5, 1 meets a 2. Any attack that ties is discarded. We take those away, we take those away. Any attack that is lower than the defense roll or the defender's roll is a miss. Those are also taken away. So we can see there pretty much that nothing had happened. If the attacker, the archers or the longbowmen, had defeated or any of the billman's dice roll by double, it's a hit. Take as many hits as you've got strength. In this case, those are both 4. Sorry, the longbowmen are 3. Oh, they should have, yeah, that's fine. And any hit that is 1 higher causes a discipline test. You have to roll against your discipline, otherwise you take a hit. That's essentially how that works. We'll continue on with the activation, and once we get to another flashpoint, I'll start the video. Okay, I ran through the rest of the dice activations. No more combat, just maneuver. Probably the most important things of note, the knights are now absolutely bearing down on these longbowmen. They're going to need to activate in order to shoot. And over here, the billmen advanced, obviously with the general attached. So there's definitely going to be some combat there in the next turn. Outside of that, this unit of billmen advanced, and some of the other archers did too. So on to the next turn. So we have an interesting development here. The active player had more dice, and they were able to play. However, the reactive player or reactive side got lower numbers, meaning they'll go first. What does that mean? These archers are going to get to shoot into the mounted knights. So same procedure as before. Actually, I realized I rolled 1 extra dice for the archers last time, but that's okay. The archers are going to roll their 3, and a 6, 6, and a 3. Good roll. And the defender is going to roll, and then we're going to pair these up. So 5 to 6, a 2, and a 2. Now this is not good for the knights. So this attack beats the defense roll. So that's going to be 1 discipline check they're going to have to take. The 6 double is obviously more than the 2. That's a hit. So we're automatically going to record the hit. I got some blue dice for that. And then the 3 beats the 2. That's another discipline check. So now we've got to roll 2 discipline checks for the knights. They have a discipline of 3. So they've got to roll equal or higher than 3. Otherwise they take a hit. So they did. They're okay. But they did take 1 hit. Their strength is 3 as a total. So they can take a total of 2 more hits. That's effectively how shooting works. Next lowest number are going to be these two 5s. Not sure if you can see both of them, but the first one, again, by the active player, they're going to be able to move 3. I don't think that, oh, that's going to be a charge. All right, give me a moment. We'll come back to this and I'll explain how this works. Okay, so the charge is going to be enacted. And we move the unit into contact, base to base, with the defender. I know what you're thinking. The archers get to shoot. If they had an activation dice attached to them, they would, but they don't. So it's a straight up charge. Now we work out pretty much the same way as before, based on the strength of the unit. So that the dismounted men at arms have a strength of 4. They're going to get 4 dice. The longbowmen have a strength of 3. They're going to get 3 dice. However, the knights are attacking downhill. They get 1 extra dice. This is a big deal. This heavily favors the knights. So now we roll those. Attacker dice, defender dice. Pretty good roll there. We got a 6, 4, 4. So we can see 5, 5, 4, 3, and 2. Okay. The defenders here, the archers, are beating or higher than the knights here. However, the knights are heavily armored. That means they get to reduce 1 dice by 2. So that's going to go down to a 4. And now all of a sudden, that's a discipline check for the archers. So I'm going to put that one there. Next one, same thing, discipline check. That 4 is a tie, or 4 and 4 is a tie. When you got remaining dice, you play them against a 2. That means that 3 is an automatic hit. The 2 is discarded. 2 would have tied a 2. So now we need to roll on the discipline of the longbowmen. They have a discipline of 4. So you roll 4s or higher. They did not. So all in all, they take 3 hits. And remember, their strength is 3. So they are in effect wiped out. Now, they have a commander attached to them. Yikes. I need to go look up what the effect of that is, if they get wiped out or if there's a test there. I'll be right back. Okay, so if the unit that was doing the attacking that won the combat was a mounted unit, then the commander would be killed on a 5 or a 6. As they're not mounted, it's just a 6. That was a 3. He's okay. He's not dead, but he has to immediately retire, a full move, or join another unit out of harm's way. So he is going to join those longbowmen there. And that was that combat. That was pretty efficient from the knights there. We're now going to do this combat. So same thing again. These billmen are going to charge the archers. However, this time the archers do have an activation dice, so they will be able to shoot beforehand. Let's resolve that now. So the 3 dice of the longbowmen, not great, just 3 2s, versus the 4 dice of the billmen. They outranked every dice, so really no effect. They charge in. And now the combat is fought. So we will immediately drop that to a 1. We might as well just drop that to a 1 while we're here. So the strength of the bowman is 4 versus the strength of the longbowman, which is 3. Roll all these together. And we see 5, 5, 3 for the archers. Oh, not a good roll at all for the billmen. Yikes. 2, 2, 2, 1. So that more than doubles, taking a hit. That more than doubles, taking a hit. That increases that is increased by 1. So that requires a hit. But we're gonna have to roll 2 discipline tests here. and their discipline is a 4, but because they got the commander or the general attached to them, that comes down to a 3. So they just need to roll 2 3-ups. Ooh, they only got 1, so that, wait, no, I'm sorry, I did that the wrong way around. Those 2 are clean, and then just that 1, which we'll say was that one. So they do take 3 hits. Thankfully, their strength is 4, so they will not rout, but they have taken a rather terrible 3 hits. As for the commander, there's a chance that he might get hit. So we're going to see, or he or she. So we're going to see if we need to roll 6 here. We didn't. They're not mounted. If they were mounted, that would have been a problem. But they're okay. So that was the end of that turn, or the end of that phase. We now scoot over to. Let me just tilt that up. Not going to work. We've got the knights on the hill here. The archer's already activated. So the knights are going to charge in. Now there's a concept in the game called impetus. If a unit is fresh, when or a mounted unit is fresh when it charges in, gets an extra dice. However, they're not fresh. They've taken a hit. So this will be fairly straight up. And I'm aware there's a lot of dice being rolled around here, or being different colored dice being used to represent different things. I hope that's okay to track with. So, all right, let's see what we got there. Right, so the knights, they have, let's see here, they have a strength of 3 on the charge, and the archers have a strength of 3. So we'll roll those opposing rolls. Ooh, terrible rolls for the knights. The knights rolled, sorry, this hill is right in the way for putting flat dice on. The knights rolled a 2 and 2 1s, whereas the archers rolled a 5, a 4, and 3. All 3 of those double, wow, or over the amount. So that means the knights take 3 full hits, and they most certainly rout. Can't take that kind of punishment. So the dice goes away, and with that, 1 1 1 1 1. Yep, that's the end of that activation phase. Back to the dice draw. Okay, we've got another combat to figure out here. The knights were able to charge into the billman. So because these are fresh, they're going to get 1 extra dice. So it's a 4-on-4 matchup when it comes to the dice. 5 4 1 1 for the billman. Ooh, look at that. 6 6 3 1. Now, impact. This 6 is only beating this 5, and this 6 is only beating this 4. They're not doubling it. Discipline check. However, impact, like a cavalry charge, automatically causes a hit. So that's a hit, that's a hit, that 1 is a hit, and the 2 ones that are tied are not. So that means that unit of billmen takes 3 wounds. Pretty significant. They got a strength of 4, one more wound or 1 more hit, and they will rout or be taken off the table. So that's the turn. Okay, so I figured I'm not going to do the blow-by-blow dice rolling. It's just going to take too long, and I'm not good at it. So this is the second. We're basically down now. When we're pulling 7 dice per activation, there's basically 2 activations. This is the second half of or the second activation. What's happened? Over here, the billman charged into the longbowman, taking a wound and causing 2 in return. The longbowman will react or will retaliate with that red 3 you see there. Over here, this is important. The knights were able to crash into the flank of some of the longbowmen. It took them out in one turn. However, they've now left their flank exposed to those spearmen who are too far away, other than the fact that when you roll a 6 for an activation, you can use it to gain a bonus. In this case, get an extra distance unit. So they will be in range to charge those knights in the flank. Over here, we're going to move that white 4 on the left there. Those longbowmen are going to move up. We did have a combat with these 2 units, and that is going to continue into this phase. And then just lastly over here, this has been a pretty brutal back and forth. Both units taking two hits. The billman obviously can take 2 more. The knights can only take 1 though. So that might be decisive. That white 3 could spell the end for the knights there. So I'm gonna do some rolling and we'll come back. Okay, and in the end of that turn, fairly inconclusive on this side of the battlefield. However, over here on this flank, the billmen were able to completely eradicate the mounted knights that were there. Now, this led to the total strength of the force on the Lancaster side added up. You basically, let me start over. We're taking once a third of your army's total strength, the strength of all the units added up. Once you reach that third point, and for this army that would be 9 points, you have to take a morale check or a discipline check for every unit, or they take casualties or we're out. As you can see by all the blue dice now, that's meant the Lancastrians are starting to really get pretty worn down here. Even though the Yorkists still don't have every unit in combat, they're certainly starting to eke out a victory here. So the next kind of decision point comes when half of one of the forces is depleted. For the Lancastrians, that's 14 points, or 14 strength points, which is approximately another 2 units. So we'll roll out this turn and see what happens. Okay, first activation of this phase, or phase of this activation, if you will. Over here, these 2 units continue to slug it out. Here, the spearmen are hanging on now, facing an uphill battle against the knights. Over here, the Yorkists did lose the unit of archers that were there. This takes their total strength lost to 9. They have a morale breakpoint of 10, so they're holding on just. But if they lose 1 more unit, then they're going to have to test 2. On to the next phase. End of the turn. This is not looking good for the Lancastrians. They've lost. They lost a unit over here. This brings their morale, their strength, the total of their strength to within 1 point of basically breaking. If they lose 1 more unit, they're out of here. And that's looking quite likely with this unit only having one hit point remaining. So we'll play it out. We'll see how this works. The dice are fickle. So here we go. They're hanging on, that's for sure. So this unit pivoted, anticipating a flank charge here. The knights tried to dish a beatdown on the spearmen, but the spearmen were able to hold, much as the billmen were over here from incoming fire from those longbowmen at the top there. And then they used one of their activation dice to charge the billmen into the archers. That resulted in the billmen taking a wound. Still fighting a somewhat uphill battle there. So they're hanging on, but here we go into the next part of this turn. End of the turn, as improbable as it may seem, Elizabeth of York is somewhat holding on and has caused a morale check or discipline check for Richard III's army, which did inflict 1 extra point of damage on these bowmen here. Doesn't look good at all for Elizabeth's army. We're gonna see how this plays out. Both sides have taken significant casualties on either side there. But it looks like this may be the final turn. Wow, so unexpected turn of events here. Elizabeth of York won. Her forces were able to remove one of the last units of opposition there, taking the total strength value of the army over that halfway point that I talked about before causing Richard III's army to retire the field. So that's game. Gonna be honest, I'm not used. Obviously, I haven't played this in quite some time, so we were effectively learning the rules or replaying the rules together. And I'm also really just not good at keeping flow going with rolling dice and holding cameras and remembering rules and remembering to talk all at once. So that's quite a skill. A lot of respect for anyone that can do that on YouTube. So anyway, that was the game. I really do like these rules. I do have some biblical forces for this as well. Unpainted, so I don't like playing with unpainted minis, so I'll probably aim to get those painted. But I've got some other systems or other eras and games that I'm working on as well. So watch this space, or I might just go back and play something a little more familiar like Flames of War, Team Yankee or something like that. But anyway, hope you enjoyed. I really do. Hope this was helpful. Sword and Spear is a great game. All right, thanks for watching. Take care.